Well, I am back from the dead. Um, I know I've been MIA for quite some time, haven't posted any tutorials here in a while, several months at least. Um, but I have returned now. So, uh, originally, when I did some tutorials and posted them, I was fairly new to FlutterFlow. And I was primarily just trying to help out some folks that were also new. Um, Dial in how to best use FlutterFlow and kind of get through the basic features. And I had the time and some experience with coding to be able to kind of dig in and adapt and learn the system pretty quickly, at least the base features, and then be able to kind of relay that to others that needed the help. But since then, I decided that, FlutterFlow is designed in such a way that anybody, pretty much anybody, with or without experience, can hop on here and maybe grab one of these pre-made templates that FlutterFlow has and build an app that's reasonably functional, albeit fairly simple. So, what I've been doing for the past several months then is getting past the initial building from a template and just doing the basic stuff. I've been digging in to the nuts and bolts and the mechanics of FlutterFlow and understanding exactly how the various pieces work, so that I could start creating these tutorials again with a little bit more insight and explanation as to what does what and why it's doing what it's doing. I will say that as I've gone through FlutterFlow and learned various things about it, it seems like the folks over at FlutterFlow are actually spitting out new features faster than I can keep up with them and learn them. So as soon as I feel like I have a decent handle on it, they come out with some new stuff, and so I kind of have to learn more about it. But I'm definitely not complaining because the features that they have released since I started are phenomenal and provide a lot of capability for designing a very robust app. And in addition to learning FlutterFlow, I've also taken the time to actually learn Flutter, the code. Maybe not to the degree of being able to write an app strictly from code, but I've learned enough of it to know when I do something on FlutterFlow, I have a general idea of how that translates to the code. And that, for me, that's super helpful to be able to build an app and know what I want it to do and make it do what I want it to do, and then perhaps translate that over to these tutorials and maybe explain it a little better for folks that are needing help. I will say that obviously FlutterFlow has some docs that you can go through. To my knowledge, those docs are pretty much the same as they were when I started. And when you're first starting with FlutterFlow, the docs aren't incredibly robust, and so it oftentimes leaves more questions than answers. FlutterFlow also has a community, which has been very helpful. But again, it still just seems to be lacking clear-cut answers on a lot of stuff. And so you just kind of have to figure it out, troubleshoot and figure out what works. And again, understanding Flutter, the coding language of Flutter, is very helpful for that. And then, of course, I think FlutterFlow is great. It's a great tool, and it provides a lot of capability. But there are some things that it doesn't have. There are some limitations. So knowing how to implement custom code via widgets and actions and functions and things like that, and obviously being able to call up APIs, all of those things are super helpful to make your app just that much better and go above and beyond what FlutterFlow currently offers. So I have definitely gone through the process of learning how all of that works, so that I can make an app just many steps above if what you would get if you just worked within FlutterFlow. So anyway, I'm embarking on a multi-part tutorial series here. And what I'm hoping to achieve with this is not only just to show all of you how to do various things inside FlutterFlow and how to make things work certain ways or maybe the easiest ways that I've found, but also to explain kind of why I've done it that way or why it's doing what it's doing. For some people, they like to know the why behind things. Other people just want to be told where to put this or where to put that and what button they need to press to make it work. And so if you're in that camp of just wanting just the facts and nothing more in depth than that, then this tutorial may not be for you. But if you're interested in kind of digging in deeper to the meat and potatoes of the process, then you'll definitely want to check this out. So what I'm going to be doing for this tutorial is I'm going to be creating a social media app. It's kind of a good starting point in my opinion. And there's a lot of people out there that want to make similar apps that kind of follow a similar line. May not necessarily be social media, but they may want to create an app where they can have followers or friends or things like that, and be able to post things where people can see it. And so even though it's a social media app that I'll be designing, the concept and the various functions and widgets and things like that are applied can be used for other apps and other ideas that you're working on. So you don't have to strictly make a social media app with this. And also, the methods that I use are the ones that I have found work best for me. By all means, you're welcome to replicate those methods if they work for you, or you may find something that works better or works more for what you're trying to do. Everybody seems to kind of have their own style of how they do things, and I've found that this works best for what I'm doing. So just keep that in mind. So again, this is going to be a multi-part series. We're going to go through every step. In my other tutorials before, I believe I just used like these pre-made things here. But for this one, we're actually just going to start off with a total blank. That way we go through every single step of the process to show how everything works. So we're just going to do that is my title, and we're going to create our blank slate. And you want to set your package name, so I'm going to oops. Okay. All right, so obviously just created a project on FlutterFlow, so now we're gonna get started here on setting up Firebase. Some of y'all that have seen my other tutorials probably already know how to do this, but we're gonna go through it anyway, just in case somebody may not know exactly how it works, or make sure that all the steps are completed correctly. Okay, so what we're going to do then is go ahead and get my Firebase project set up. Now, you don't have to use Firebase. There are other options, but for this, we are just going to use Firebase because it's all integrated with FlutterFlow and just makes it easiest. So, okay, so I'll let that set up real quick. Okay. All right, so for this, now that I've got my Firebase set up, I'm going to go to the Build tab and I'm going to create authentication so that I can authenticate users. And I'm just going to do email for now. And go back to Build. We're going to set up Firestore database. I'm just going to leave it in production mode. And I'll just leave it there. And then we're going to do storage for pictures and videos, things like that. All right, so I've got the three main things set up here that I'm going to be using for this app. There's some other stuff you can do in here, but we're not going to worry about anything else except those three. So now I'm going to go into users and permissions, and I'm going to add FlutterFlow to it so that it can communicate. So that's going to be Firebase at flutterflow.io. Give them editor permissions. And then I'm going to go down here once they've been added to advanced permission settings. And we're going to find the email I just added for FlutterFlow. Go over here and edit that, and we're going to add a couple of more permissions here. Cloud Functions admin is going to be one. And then this one, usually I have to scroll to, because just typing to search for it doesn't work. I'm going to go to service accounts, come over here to this sidebar, and do service account user. Now we got those, we're going to save that, and so we're good to go here. Go back. All right, so now I'm going to go to general, and I'm going to grab my project ID. And then go back to FlutterFlow and put that project ID in there, and I'm going to enable authentication and create user account or create user collection. And then I'll do that. I'll do that later. So I'm just going to leave those as unset. I'm going to start building. And I did not click connect. Whoops. Okay. I got ahead of myself. So I didn't click connect after I put the ID in there. So we're going to do that before we go on. Right, now we're connected. Now I want to auto generate the config files. All of that's correct. Generate files. Okay. Sorry about that. Got ahead of myself, so we're good there. Oh. Never seen that issue before. That's interesting. Oh, okay. They added a new feature on me. That's why I didn't know what that was. So yeah, I've never, this is brand new. The storyboard feature is brand new. So we're not gonna touch on that because I have never messed with that before. So we'll look at that at a different time once I figure out exactly what that does. Okay, so now that we've got our Firebase set up, and everything's connected here, I do want to go down to, let's see here. Well, that's good to go. No. Okay. Sorry. No, just leave that alone. Okay. Up here. All right. So I'm just gonna leave that alone. I don't need that. Okay. Yeah, we'll leave the rules alone for now too. All right. So before we start working on the front end and the user interface, I'm actually going to go ahead and create my collections in Firebase. So it created a user's collection for me whenever I set everything up there at the beginning, and it's got just the basic stuff in here, which we will add stuff to here later on. But I want to go ahead and create my collections now. Setting up your Firestore and how you structure your data is pretty important. It can get confusing if you set it up in a confusing way. So you kind of want to dial this in early on, and kind of know how you want it to be set up, what you're wanting it to look like. So right now I'm just going to create collections. I'm not actually going to fill those collections with any data fields. So for a social media app, obviously we need users. And then we're going to have we're going to do a groups collection for if you want to create a private group or a public group for a topic or something like that. Then we're going to do biz pages. So kind of like on Facebook, if they still do this. I haven't been on Facebook in a minute, so I don't really know. But it's similar to groups, except people can only comment. I think they can't actually create posts, and so you can create a post to advertise your business or band or whatever. Okay. And then I'm going to do posts. And so posts, that would be like on your news feed, whenever you create a post, pictures, videos, text, things like that. That's what this will be for. And then under that one, we'll do comments. That'll be all the comments on any of those posts. And let's do one for, let's allow users to create their own marketplaces. So, Facebook has a marketplace where you can sell stuff. I'm going to set it up so that you can like create your own storefront and then sell things. So we'll do user markets. And then we'll do market items. This will be the stuff that's for sale inside those markets. Okay, so we've got these things. I think that's a good starting point for us. And I'm sure we'll add some more collections as we go along, but this will be a good place to start. Okay, so for the remainder of this tutorial, we're just going to go through creating or filling out the collections, and that's where we'll end this tutorial. And then in the next one, we'll start working on the front end and setting things up. So obviously, when the user's collection was created, it gave you all this stuff, but I need a few more fields in here, and I will add more fields as we go along. But just to get started, I am going to create first name because I want to collect their names, and we'll set that as a string, and last name will also be a string. And then we'll do zip code. I'm in the United States, so I'm building this app according to United States, which we use zip codes wherever you live. I don't know how that's set up to identify regions of where people live. Obviously use whatever is native to where you're at. So I'm going to use zip code, and that way we can use some of the geo features inside the app. And we'll set that as an integer. And then I'm going to do, I'm going to set up so I'm going to do a following and a followers type thing instead of a friends list. So we're going to do, let's see here. Sorry, I'm trying to think of the best way I want to set this up. Just for the sake of making it easy to reference for these tutorials, I'll put it in a certain way that I usually don't do it this way, but the ways, sometimes whenever I create my collections and put in data in here, I'll use acronyms or abbreviations or whatever, because I know what I'm looking at, but I don't want it to be confusing for you. So we'll do users being followed. So this would be the list of users that a single user is following. And it is a list, and then data type. Oh, sorry, not data type. Document reference, I'll set it as users. Okay, so those are the users that a user will follow. And then this will be a list of users that are following this user. Hopefully that makes sense. That'll be a list. Document reference, users. Okay. And then so we can implement this. I'm going to do some booleans. So true false is account suspended. True false boolean, or is account banned. Same thing. And is account verified. Okay, so those are the things that we'll start with. It's kind of the primary things that we need here. Okay, so down here we're going to go to groups. Now for groups, so every document, when you create a document, which is an entry into Firestore, so manage content, so I could go into groups and add a document if there is any fields that I could fill out, and a document would be an entry into the database. So every entry automatically has an ID assigned to that entry from Firebase, but sometimes having your own group ID that is assigned within FlutterFlow can be beneficial. So we're going to have that, and we're going to set it as a string. That way we can have a combination of numbers and letters. And then I'm going to do date created, which is useful for administration. And I'll choose the timestamp. And then we'll do group title, it'll be the name. We'll do the string. I'll do about as a string. And do group photo. I'll do photo path. And then we're going to, we'll do members. And that'll be a list. Document reference be users. Then we'll do moderators. List and users. Do administrators. And we'll do, we're going to do a created by. So the user that created it. So it's not a list, just a single user. And then we'll do is private. So is this a public or private community? We're just going to do is private. So that is true, false. And then we'll do is banned. So we can control whether this group is allowed or not. Okay, so that's just kind of the basics that we need. Now we'll come back here and add more data fields after we get some of these other things set up, because we'll have to reference to them. Biz pages. So what I should have done, to be honest with you, is I probably should have just duplicated this and just renamed it biz pages, because it kind of has the similar setup. So, you know, I'm actually going to do that. So I'm going to delete this collection, and then I'm going to duplicate the groups and make that my biz pages. And then it has all this. So group title, I don't really want it to say that. I want it to say page title. But I want, again, structuring your data in your Firestore is pretty important. And I don't really want to put group title down here. I want it to stay up here, and I can't edit that. That's the way it is. So I'm just going to leave it as group title and group ID and group posts. I'll just make sure to reference or group photo. I'm sorry, not group post. I'll reference what collection we're in. Okay, so now we're going to go into posts, the post collection, and we are going to, I'm going to give it a post ID. And then we're going to do date created, timestamp, and then we'll do posted by. So that'll be who posted it. So we'll do it as a user. And then we'll do content. So that'll be written content, so the text of the post. And we'll do a photo, or if they want to upload a photo to it. Same thing for video. Video path. Okay. So now we have that. Now we want to plug in here likes. So if someone likes the post, it will show up. We're going to set that as an integer. Okay, so now we're going to do liked by users. I'll set it as a list. And I'll show you really what that's for, but for notifications purposes, this will enable us to notify whoever posted this, made this post, when somebody likes their post. If you want to have it, let them know in a notification that a person liked their post, we'll be able to pull that data from here. Okay. Then we're going to do is private, whether this group is public or not. Or I'm sorry, this post. This post is publicly visible. All right, now we'll go to comments, and we'll do comment ID, date created, we'll do content. It's just going to be text-based comments, no pictures or anything, so we're just going to leave that as it is. We will allow comments to be liked, so we'll do likes. Okay, and we need to do some reference points. So we're going to do a group reference. This actually, let's start with post. Post reference, what post this is tied to. Now we'll do a group reference if it's tied to a group. Do a biz page reference. And we'll do market item reference. We may or may not use that, but we'll go ahead and have it in there. Okay. All right. And then we need created by reference, the user who made the comment. Okay. So that's good for comments for now. And we're going to go back to groups. We're going to add in a new reference here. So we're going to do comments reference. And set that as a list. And then we will reference comments. We'll go ahead and do that. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and do it for our posts. Okay, so that'll be good for there. Let's see here. Posts. We're gonna want to have some reference points in posts as well. So group reference, not a list, just one group. Comments reference. So this is a list. And that should be good there for now. Okay. And then I'm going to use a market. So we're going to let them create their own marketplace. We're still going to do market ID. Date created. Do created by. Market name. Market about. Market photo. Let's see here. What else we want? We want a reference to items. So market items reference list. Market items. And we could do this, users following. So if users want to follow a marketplace for updates, list users. And we can do likes. Liked by reference. Now let's do users. Okay. Liked by users list. And I think that's probably good for now. Yeah, just leave that as it is for now. And we'll come back to it if we need to. Actually, we're gonna add an is verified. And we'll go ahead and, oh, no, I already did that. Okay. And then market items. Item ID. created by reference. Oops, sorry. Give it a title. Description. Photo. Do available quantity. So if there's more than one, set it as an integer. Price. And I'm gonna keep the price as whole numbers. I'm not gonna work with decimal points. So I'm just gonna set it as integer. And let's see here. Do is available. Okay. Let's do a throwback to comments. And then do a purchased by reference. There's multiple to purchase by users. Okay. All right. So that's good there. And then we've got the biz page. So that's just a basic rundown of how I'm going to set up my collections to get started. As we go through it, things will be adjusted. And likely things will be added in here. I do need to create a comments reference. Back to the comments. Okay. All right. So that's a good starting point, good structure for Firestore and what we're going to work from going forward. So that's it for this first part of the tutorial. Up next, we will begin building out pages from the very start to the very end. So hopefully you'll tune back in. Take care.